my most recent campaign, I'm the only experienced player. I end up doing like 60% of the talking with the DM. I try to like all their players' questions, etc., but they seem super nervous to RP. Any advice on helping them break out that barrier? Yeah, don't talk to the DM, talk to the players, talk to the other people at the table. You could just run the table and run things with the DM, or you could act as a party leader rather than a party emperor, and you could turn to the other players and be like, all right, guys, I really think the goblins have taken all these things. All signs point to the beer that the goblins have stolen being in that cave. Now, I've got a couple of plans. We could attack front up. We could wait out the goblins in an ambush. We could try to smoke them out, but that never works. We could do all of these things. What do you think we should do? And then, you have in-character conversations with the other players, and even if their ideas kind of suck, you can, if you're a good enough, more experienced player, you can take the, half-assed idea that they give you, assume it's going to work, and then try to improve it a little bit. So when the other people are like, yeah, let's just go in and get them. Yeah, let's go get them and get them. Like, okay, frontal assault it is. Now, fighter, you're the fighter. So you're going to be in the front lines of all of this. That means that you have to decide the assaulting plan. Since you're going to be in the front, you're going to be taking all the risks. What do you think that we should do? How do you think we should go about actually assaulting? And the DM in the meantime is sitting back and chilling. And now you are developing an assault on the goblin cave by talking to the other people. And the fighter will be like, well, I'm just going to walk in there and then you're just going to have my back. And so then you can say to the fighter, okay, so we're not going to sneak. We're just going to we're going to be brave. We're just going to be brazen and walk down the middle. And you're going to, take their attention. So you, wizard in the party, and go forth and, plan the assault using the other people. And you can be a leader, not a boss. Help them become good at RPing by RPing directly with them. Right. And even if it's not an assault thing like that, if you're just in town and you're looking for quests, talk to their people in character. Oh, my elf ranger is, he's not really familiar about what's going on in these towns. So, which one of these 5 quests on this board do you think we should do? So forth and so on. Yeah, if they freeze up, just give them a moment. Ask them again. It'll take time. This isn't going to be something that you solve in one session. You have to slowly train them into doing these things. So you talk to them in character. First, they're a little hesitant. You just keep talking to them in character. You reward them when they do a good job of talking in character by stepping out of character and be like, oh, that was really good. I really felt your fighter in that moment. And then you just go back to what you're doing. Give them little rewards for doing the right thing. Be patient. Give them a lot of time. Any words of wisdom to give a campaign that's over due to interpersonal conflict? I tried working with the DM and his wife, but neither seemed interested in any sort of player feedback, regardless of how kindly I do so. Interpersonal feedback, interpersonal conflict in D&D is always a tough one, because it's not really a D&D question. That's just an ordinary how do I human question. And I really excel at the D&D stuff. The interpersonal stuff, it's difficult to give any advice without knowing the specifics of the situation. All we can do are give the most general of advice. To give the most general advice, I would say that when we play D&D, we're here to have fun with people at the table. The objective of the game is to have a good time with everyone. So if someone's playing the game in a way that you don't really like, your options are to find a way to like it, find a way to avoid the thing that you don't like, or direct the party away from the thing that you don't like, or to speak directly to the people and be like, hey, this doesn't work for me. Generally, the first option is best. There's a thing that you're not a fan of, or there's a thing that you don't like, there's a thing that you don't think is done well, or done the right way. Lean in, or roll with it. And find a way to recontextualize that, or find a way to engage with it in a way that's fun or interesting to you. Maybe your DM has a weird rule, and you really think that rule is dumb. Maybe they've got some bad resting rules. Maybe their resting rules for 5th edition are that you have to take a week of downtime for a long rest. And you think that's just really unfair to spellcasters, and it's super unbalanced, and it ruins the spellcasting class. Find a way to work with it. this is the game that we're playing. These are the rules that are showing up. So this is the game that we're playing. So let's just play it anyway. I don't agree with this, but I'm here to have fun with people. And what's more important than playing the rules that you like is just playing and having fun with your friends. You know, maybe when you're out in the schoolyard and people are playing tag or people are playing freeze tag, you end up frozen a little bit longer than you'd like. You know, people don't rescue you from your freeze as often as possible. You can complain and say, hey, somebody unfreeze me, someone unfreeze me, someone unfreeze me over and over again. Or you can just wait. Or you can stick close to other people when you're running so that if you do get frozen, that you're nearby to be unfrozen or something like that. And that's usually the best way is we're just here to have a good time. I don't necessarily agree with this, but like, let's do it anyway. You know, you go over to your friend's house and all they have is wine and you don't really like wine. You prefer anything but wine, but they're serving wine. You could complain to your friends and be like, hey, why don't you have any beer or whatever? Or you could just pour yourself a glass of wine and slowly sip it because you don't really enjoy it, but you're here to be social and have a good time with your friends. And so you're just going to sip the damn wine, whether you like it or not. That's usually the best option. The second approach would be to avoid the thing in question. So if it's like a long rest rule, it's a little hard to avoid that, but maybe the problem with the game is something different. It's not like a rule, it's a way that something is coming up. Maybe it is maybe there's like a really annoying NPC in town that you like keep interacting with over and over again, and the DM is just kind of like getting on your nerves with this NPC. You could find a way in-game to avoid the NPC. Maybe you decide that you don't want to visit that town anymore. You don't say, you know, let's not talk to this NPC. Let's avoid the town. Or let's make an enemy of the NPC. Or let's go after this other quest that conveniently also takes us away from the NPC. So find a way to work the problem away from you so you don't have to deal with the problem. And your last option, if you can't make peace with it and find a way to live with it, and if you can't avoid it, is to directly confront someone and be like, hey, this thing's a problem. And that's where your human-to-human interpersonal skills come in. I can't really help you with talking with other people since I don't know the specifics. I don't know what you said. I don't know what they said. You know, it's too complicated. But it's best to be polite, direct, not conciliatory, but compromising. So, hey, DM, I've got a problem that's really making this not so much fun for me. Here is my problem directly, not like you're doing this thing and I hate this thing, but like there is this thing is problematic. Here is a compromise where we can meet in the middle. Do you think you could meet me in the middle on this thing? But if you approach someone and you say, I think you're doing this wrong, no one's going to listen to you. If you approach someone and you say, I don't like this thing about you, I don't like the way you're running this game, I don't like the thing that you've done, you're setting yourself up for conflict to begin with. Try setting yourself up for peace. Try making statements that are about you rather than about them. So there is a thing and it makes me unhappy. That's very different from you are doing a thing that makes me unhappy. So I would start there. I would start with some general conflict de-escalation. This NPC gets on my nerves a whole bunch. Do you think maybe you could introduce a henchman that works for them that we interact with instead? Or do you think we could have a different NPC that we interact with? Or could we limit the amount of interaction with this NPC? I understand they're key to the story, but this NPC gets on my nerves and I would rather spend less time playing with them. Is a lot better than when you play this NPC and you do this and that, it really bothers me. Talk about what you need. Don't talk about what they're doing wrong. That is your basic run-of-the-mill, easy way to go about this stuff. And especially as a DM, when players come to you with, you're doing this wrong, or I think this is a bad thing, it can be difficult and frustrating. Because as a DM, you're running the whole campaign and then you're putting in a shit ton of time outside of the game to make these things happen. And there might be a good reason for a thing that your players don't see yet. there might be hey, this NPC is really bothering me. I kind of expected this person to be on our side, but they're being an asshole all the time. What the hell? And the DM might be like, well, actually, and I'm setting this character up for this thing. There's a purpose to this. You just don't see it yet. Or I really don't like this mechanic. And the DM's like, actually, I put a lot of thought into this. This mechanic is actually needed for this reason, and this reason. And if we don't have this mechanic, there's my advice. Legionnaire Nero said, hello, tomorrow is the first time GMing with Rulebook. Party want focus on interaction between players. How to create a situation that divides the players and allows the characters to manifest themselves. How to create interesting controversy within the party characters. You don't want to do that, generally speaking. For a fun D&D campaign, the party needs to work together. If the party is not trusting each other, if they're fighting amongst themselves, if there's controversy within the party, it tends to create problems that end with very short games. Generally speaking, you want to have as little controversy between the characters and as little infighting as possible. If you're going to have some sort of controversy or infighting or divisiveness between the party, it should be semi-external. That is, which one of you is the better mage? And each person is now trying to one-up themselves as the better mage. Which one of you is the better archer? Maybe they keep track of kills. Maybe it's some sort of competition where they're not fighting against each other, but they're trying to outdo one another. They're trying to outperform one another. Maybe it's who can drink the most. Maybe it's, who has the most fans and followers. Maybe it's who can collect the most money, but some sort of friendly competition between characters is good. If you set them against each other, it always ends tragically. Don't set them against each other.